Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session. We're really happy to see all of you here. And we're also really happy to have Miss Ana del Arenal with us. Before she starts her presentation, we want you to know that she is an Education USA advisor for Fidalgo, and we can find her at the International Affairs and Academic Exchange Office of the Autonomous University of the State of Hidalgo. She has been working as an advisor for 3 years, and what she enjoys the most is being able to establish partnerships with higher education institutions in Mexico and the United States. Her life motto is follow your dreams. Thank you and welcome, Ms. Ana del Arenal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very pleased to be here with you today and for giving me the space to talk about what is Education USA. So, well, just so you know, I'm Ana del Arenal. I'm the Education USA advisor for Hidalgo and also recently for Tlaxcala, okay? So if you are listening from any of those states, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and ask anything you wanna know about the process. Okay, so we're gonna start by saying very briefly about what is Education USA. So Education USA is a global network of advising centers from the US Department of State. And what is a Department of State? Well, it's a department from the US federal government responsible for the nation's foreign policy and international relations. That means all the embassies and consulates around the world, okay? So here in Mexico, we work very close with the US Embassy in Mexico City and other centers in other regions of Mexico. They work very closely to the consulates, okay? Like for example, Monterrey, Ciudad Juarez, they have a consulate, and Guadalajara, there's a consulate there too, okay? So we provide accurate, comprehensive, and current information about the full range of accredited US higher education institutions, which are a lot. I have to say, in the US is the #1 country with more higher education institutions, okay? And very important, we provide, or all of our services are for free. So we provide free access to introductory information on US studies, okay? Since I was saying that it's a global network, there's 425 centers in 178 countries. So it's a big deal, Education USA. And here in Mexico, we are 15 advisors with 26 centers. Let me go to the next one. Okay. So some of the activities that we offer, we have in-center activities, out-of-center, and virtual activities. You know that with the COVID situation, we all had to change some of our activities to virtually, right? So nowadays, we are still working virtually most of the time, but we are starting to go a little bit of in-person when it's required. So some of our activities are to, to have one-on-one sessions. Something that I didn't say, and it's important, is that the center, it's in Cevide building in Ciudad del Conocimiento. For those of you who don't know where the center is, where it's there, it's the first floor from a Cevide building, and it's part of the International Relations Department, okay? But something very important that you have to know is that no matter if you are a student from La UAH or you are not, you are more than welcome to go to the center and ask for the information, okay? So this information is for anybody in Hidalgo or Tlaxcala, okay? If you are watching us or if you live in other state, there's gonna be another advisor that can help you. And if you wanna come with me, I'm more than welcome to help you as well, okay? So about our activities, well, we have the one-on-one sessions. We also have group sessions where we explain the process of how we work and how we're gonna be helping you, right? We also have some public sessions like today that I'm talking to you guys. We have workshops, and that's something that I would like to talk about. So I'm offering, actually, we started in February, I think we started, and we're gonna finish these workshops until July. So if you wanna join, please send me an email. So I have a conversation club, which is every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. and it's virtual, so it's through Zoom. So if you are at home, you can use your phone and you can join the club, and it's very fun because we talk about different topics and just like casual conversations, so that you practice your English. And then Wednesdays, I have a writing workshop where you can also join, and you are gonna be learning about either like maybe how to write your essays, or maybe your CV, or starting with how to write a letter or an email, or specific other things that you want to know. You can let me know, and we'll be checking that in the class, okay? And then we offer mobility fairs. I don't know if you remember that before the pandemic, the YH had the open doors event. So there I had a booth where I was giving information to students. So we also do that. We also invite representatives from US higher education institutions. And nowadays we have virtual fairs, but probably maybe next year we can have a in-person fair where you can meet, representatives from universities if you are interested. We very common, or every week there's something going on in Education USA. We offer webinars about specific topics. For example, this month, we're going to be having the last week of May, we're going to be having 2 events open to the public, and it's going to be for writing essays. So one is going to be for an undergraduate degree, which is a bachelor's, a 4 years degree, which is licenciatura. And then we'll be having, on the other day, we'll be having the event for graduate sessions, which is for postgrados, okay? So if you want to know more about these events, please send me an email and I'll share with you all the information. And then some frequently asked questions, because this is something that people ask us, all of the advisors, very often. So starting with, does Education USA have scholarships? No, we do not have scholarships, as in scholarships for paying tuition. No, we do not offer that. We do have one scholarship, which is the Opportunity Fund Scholarship. Recently, last month, we every year we select around 20 to 25 grantees, and most of them are going to a graduate degree, yeah? But we select nationwide, in all Mexico, we select 20 to 25 grantees, and that scholarship is only gonna cover the admission part of the process, right? So we have 1 year where we are gonna help students prepare their admission. For example, all the requirements that they're gonna be asked to submit, if they have to write essays. We are not gonna be writing their essays, but we'll help them with, give feedback and stuff like that. And personally, I'm in charge of organizing webinars for these grantees. And so every month we'll be having sessions regarding essays, standardized tests, letters of recommendation, the submission plan, how to, from the thousands of schools in the US, how to reduce my options and have the ones that I really should be applying to, right? And then we have, do you provide support for exchange programs? No, that's something that's part of international relations in the university. I think previously my colleague, Jose Antonio Merino, gave this talk about the exchange programs that the university offers. Here in Education USA, we do not provide this type of one semester exchange. We work with like all the program. If you're gonna go study a bachelor's degree or an undergraduate, it's a 4-year program, right? If you're gonna be studying for a master's degree, it's a 2-year program most of the times. And if you're gonna be studying a PhD, most of the times it's 3 years, okay? So we want you to go to the end for the entire program, okay? Does Education USA have language courses? Well, like that, like for learning the language, as Education USA, we do not offer those type of courses, but as I mentioned previously, we do have some advisors and some centers. We offer either the conversation club or maybe the writing workshop, or other advisors, sometimes they offer a boot camp for something very specific, like for example, writing an essays for admission, or maybe how to write your CV, your curriculum. So those are things that we do offer, but not as in starting from zero. If you want to do that, you can go to the US, you can go to a university, but I have to be very clear. You might not be finding scholarships for studying, English in the US. This is something that you might have to, most of the times for sure, you'll be paying for that course, okay? And finally, do you have partnerships or agreements with specific US colleges and universities? No, we do not have specific partnerships because, as I mentioned, we are a program from the government or from the US government. So we cannot, give preference to certain universities. We represent all of the universities, very important, as long as they are certified. That's something very important, okay? And this means just to make sure that the institution is reliable, that it's a accredited university, right? Okay, so about characteristics of higher education institutions. So as I mentioned, in the US, it's the #1 country with the most higher education institutions in the world. There's more than 4,700 accredited institutions. Okay, so you have tons of options to choose from. And this is something that we like to mention a lot because we know that a lot of people, you have heard of the Ivy League institutions, for example, Yale, MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Georgetown, and so on. And yes, you can apply to those institutions, but as well, we want you to, to apply to other institutions that you might haven't heard of, but still they are extremely good institutions. And also because depending on what you want to study, it's the type of institution you want to select, right? So also like in Mexico, there is public and private institutions. And something very different from Mexico is that in the US, it's a self-regulation. So there's no like a federal department like in Mexico, like la SEP. There is not that in the US, so it's by state. They are regulated by state, okay? So that's something important also to know. And then there's 3 types of higher education institutions. We have community colleges, which are institutions that I would say focus more on an associate's degree. And an associate's degree is a 2-year degree that is mainly focused on like technical programs you know. And then we have colleges and universities. And these colleges and universities offer the 4-year program, which is la licenciatura, or the bachelor's degree, okay? For those of you that are right now in high school, I would recommend you, if you want to study in the US, it's a very good option to start at a community college, because these institutions are smaller, are less expensive, and the requirements are also less requirements and easier than a university. So that's something that we would like you to take into consideration, like maybe start at a community colleges, because the good thing in the US is that these institutions have a agreement with universities or colleges in the state where they are. So you can start at a community colleges for the first 2 years of your bachelor's, and then you can continue or transfer the credits to a university and then complete your 4-year program and have el título de licenciatura, okay? So that's something important to know. And then something also, I would say different from Mexico, is that in the US, you will find any type of club or group or society that you are interested in. If you like sports, there will be mostly all of the sports that you could think of, so you can join a club. But also maybe if you are into arts, then you can join, I would say, like a painting club or a theater or a singing or music or something that you're into that. And if there's not the club, then you can start the club. And this is something very important that we are not used to in Mexico, is the extracurricular activities. At least me, I didn't think about that part in high school, and neither in the university, about extracurricular activities. And I have to say that for the US institutions, this is something extremely important, because they want to make sure that you are interested in something else, not just studying, and not just you, that you are interested about the society, the community, the place where you live, and that you want to make a change and, you know, create something or make a project. So that's something that you should think of and consider if you want to go to the US. So for those guys or for those students that are starting high school, you are still in the really good time to start this process and think about, what do you want to do? What are some activities that I should consider, that I should have these skills, okay? So that's something important to consider, okay? Okay, so about Education USA, we, our main services or the way we work is through 5 steps, okay? Today, I'm only gonna be talking about the first 3, because the 4th and 5th is when you are already selected at a university or an institution. That's when we are gonna be talking about the 4th and the 5th step, okay? So now that you are starting to know about what is Education USA, I would just focus on the first 3, okay? Okay, so number 1 is research your options. Okay, so research your options. What does this mean? What do you want to study? Where do you want to study? And you have to consider a lot of things that most of the time you don't consider. For example, starting with the weather, maybe, no? Maybe if you don't like really hot weather, maybe you can think about going to the north part of the country. Maybe if you don't like the really cold weather, well, then consider the south. Also, some people have told me, like, I would like to go to New York. And I'm like, fine, you can go to New York, but you are not gonna go on vacations. You're gonna go study to New York. And you have to think about that the cost of living in New York is more expensive than living, for example, in Arizona or in Texas, right? So you have to consider, for example, that here maybe if you are used to small groups, for example, I don't know, 30 people, 30 students and 1 teacher. In the US, you'll find schools that have, I would say, 200 students and 1 teacher. So that teacher is not going to have the time to pay attention to you if you didn't understand a topic and go back and explain you again. That's not going to happen. So if you are used to a smaller groups, I would recommend you to consider smaller schools, right? And then here on the screen, you can see that we work with these research tools or websites. So for undergraduate, we have the College Board site where you can go and then you can like filter your options. And also for graduate, either Peterson or grad schools. And you can, for example, say, I'm looking for a school or a university in California. And I want to study maybe, I don't know, marketing. And maybe I want to start at a community college. So maybe community colleges in California. And then what else do I need? Well, maybe if they can offer me dorms, you know, that you are going to be living in the school and not outside, because then you have to consider paying for, you know, your rent and for services and things like that. Okay. Very important is that so you are going to be searching for schools, and then there's going to be a list of schools that have the requirements that you are looking for. And something very important is that when you go or when you are checking that school, for example, in Big Future College Board, it might say that they offer financial aid for international students, but then this is something that please do go to the university website and make sure about the university that they are telling you, because sometimes we've seen that the information change, and maybe in College Board they are saying that yes, they will give you financial aid, and then on the site of the school they are saying no, we do not provide financial aid for international students. So as long as you have well, you know, wealthy parents that will pay for your education, you might want to consider another institution that will offer you financial aid, okay? And also very important, have your notebook or maybe an Excel sheet and start a list of schools that you've been checking on, things that you like, things that you don't like, specific aspects, like for example, the cost of the tuition, the requirements for the application. What else? Maybe things that you want to know. Maybe, for example, if they will give you or support you with, you know, financial aid, but also maybe with, you know, a room so you can live on campus, things like that, that you want to know, okay? And then number 2, we have finance your studies. Okay, so the money. How are you gonna be paying for your studies in the US? So not very good news, but for undergraduate degrees, the only source for financial aid is directly with the institution. Yes, Mexico is not offering financial aid for undergraduate students. So that's why I'm telling you, you have to, apart from having good grades, you will need to prove that you have good skills and to have important or good extracurricular activities. And also there's, well, I have to say here, there's 2 types of aid. There's the need-based aid, which is defined by the economic situation of your family and your situation, and then they will consider, well, maybe yes, we can offer this percentage of scholarship. And also the merit-based, and this merit-based scholarships, is defined by your grades. If you are a really good student and you have 10s, well, they will offer you a good amount of scholarship, right? And then for graduate, okay, for graduate, the good thing is that there's, some options in Mexico. For example, we have, CONACYT is very well known here. And then, for example, maybe Comexus, we work very close to Comexus, which is the Fulbright scholarships. There's FIDER, FUNED, and other options that you can contact me and I can give you more information about this, okay? And also at the university, the more you study or the higher the degree, the more money that you can obtain from the university because they have more resources, okay? And also they might let you work a part-time job. Maybe they can let you be a teacher, maybe a Spanish teacher. Maybe they can let you, if you are studying a PhD, they are gonna be letting you, do some research, and then they'll be paying for that. So that's something good. So you have a lot of options. You just have to check what are the options that the university is offering you. And also in the case of the graduate, what's Mexico offering you? In which cases, if you're studying for a STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or if you're studying for a social science area or business, you have to check that out, okay? Okay, and then we have the third step, which is complete your application. Okay, so this is very important. This, what you are seeing on screen, is what's usually asked. It's not the law. Not every school is gonna be asking for these same requirements, okay? So for undergraduate, you will be filling a form of application, and in some universities you will have to pay for that. Sometimes it's like $50 up to $100. Sometimes they are not gonna be charging for that application. There are some apps, like the Common app, where it's a website where you upload your documents, and then you have like this package that you will send to different universities, okay? So that makes your life easier. Then the transcripts. Transcripts are your grades. For an undergraduate is 4 years prior to the bachelor's degree. This means you will be submitting high school and the last year of mid school, of secundaria, okay? Then they might ask for an English test, which can be IELTS or TOEFL. And starting like 2 years ago, they are now accepting Duolingo, which is great because it's less expensive than IELTS and TOEFL. It's around like $60, so it's not that expensive. And then we have standardized tests, which you have two options, either the SAT or the ACT. And this test is gonna be rating your knowledge in general, right? Also, with the situation of COVID and like starting like 2 years ago and recently, a lot of universities are not asking for this test, which is great because it is a difficult test. Well, it's a challenging test, no? But thanks God they are not asking for this test anymore. Some schools are still asking, but you have to check that as well as all the other requirements. They might ask for letters of recommendation, and these letters of recommendation are very different from what we are used to in Mexico. These letters, you have to ask either your professor, or maybe if you work, maybe your boss or your colleague, somebody that really knows you well and that they can truly talk about your work, your studies, your goals and things that you have done. And they should really be like describe very deep about yourself and things that they have done with you, and they will submit it. directly to the university, okay? And then the essays. So for an undergraduate, they are gonna be asking for a personal statement, which is things that you have done. It's like more from the past to the present, things that you have done. Why is that you wanted to maybe you know, do certain things, and what are things that interest you, maybe if you went or you won, I don't know, maybe a championship or something, maybe a mathematics, or I don't know, things like that, right? But it's like very personal, like about you. And then the study objectives is more like from the present to the future of why you want to study that degree, why you want to study in the US, how do you see yourself when you come back to Mexico, where do you want to work, and what are some of you know, like goals or maybe projects that you want to develop that when you come back, right? So these essays and letters of recommendation are things that we as advisors can help you with, not by writing them, but by checking them and giving you feedback and telling you, maybe you can, you know, write more about this idea because I don't really understand what you want to say, or maybe this you should not talk about this, or maybe it's not relevant. So just, you know, giving you some feedback. And also the CV, you have to submit a CV, and we can help you with that too, of giving you examples how to write a CV. And in case you want to go to the arts, then you might have to submit a portfolio. For example, if you want to study design, como diseño gráfico, diseño de modas, or I don't know, maybe like pintura, painting, you might have to submit something like that. Proof that you have already been working on that field, right? And then for graduate, we have the same. You will be, you know, filling out a form. And then the transcripts is from your previous studies, either if it's the bachelor's or the master, depending of what you want to study, you will have to submit those transcripts. And also you might be asked to submit an English test, which is the same as the undergraduate. You can choose which one you want to take. Also, a very important is that recently they are letting you take the exam in your computer from home. So then you don't have to, you know, go to Mexico City to take the TOEFL IBT. You can just do it from home, which I think it's better if they're asking for. And then the type of standardized tests are the GRE and the GMAT, which also is depending on the school. They might ask you to take the exams or maybe not. So you have to check that. And the same, letters of recommendation, essays, CV, resume. Resume is more like, as the name says, giving like a brief, you know, part of the CV, or maybe depending of what you want to study, you have to focus your CV or your resume on that field, right? And the same, if you are going to fine arts, you will be also as well submitting a portfolio, and they might ask for another essay, okay? So as always, check the website from the institutions that you are interested in and make sure about the requirements that they are asking. And if you have any questions, you can also come to us, to the advisors. And something very important that I forgot to tell you is that we'll be seeing this now, but as you can see, the process is long. It's gonna take some time. So we want you to apply to at least, I would say, minimum 5 universities. If it's more, the better, because as you can see, it's a long process. So we want to make sure that 1 or 2 universities are gonna accept you, because if you are only gonna apply to one university and they don't accept you, it's a lot of time, right? So starting spring, no, for example, now you are on time for searching schools, deciding on what you want to study, because sometimes the program doesn't have the same name here in Mexico as in the US, but you have to check like the classes and the courses and just make sure that if it's not the same name, but they have the same curricula, so it's gonna be that program that you want, okay? Summer, you'll be preparing for a test if they are gonna ask you to submit a test, and start your essays. Essays is gonna take some time because you will be doing at least, I would say, 15 drafts of essays. So that takes some time. So don't leave it at the end because you need time to do this, okay? Fall, you have to be ready to have all the requirements and for the application. And winter, which is usually it's like November when it's the deadline for the application. So before that, you have to have everything ready and set, no? And then next year, spring, you will be receiving letters of acceptance or rejection, okay? And then May is when you decide where you wanna go, which school you wanna go to. If you got accepted to more than one, we ask you to, apart from the one that you want to go to and attend, we would like you to tell the others, if you are accepted, thank you very much, but I decided on another institution, but thanks, no? Just to be polite. And then by fall, which is the same year, the same cycle as in Mexico, programs start in August, same as in Mexico. So just be prepared to have, this is where, if you got accepted, this is where you're gonna be or will be working on you getting your visa and then preparing for your departure, just so you know the documents that you need to take with you, and from how to do your luggage, that you will be going to the airport, what are they going to be asking for, that when you get there, you have to go to the university and let them know that you are there, even if you are not starting your program right away, but they should know that you are in the US and ready to start your program, right? Okay, and finally, homework to get started. Very important that you have everything in order. So if you're gonna start this process, make a list and write important things about each institution, okay? As I mentioned, always look on the official institution website. Very important, find out about the deadlines, costs, and requirements of each school, because it's gonna be different, okay? Talk to your family and talk to whoever is going to be supporting you, even if it's emotionally, but talk to your family, your friends, and see if they can contribute with your education. And if it's not possible, well, I will recommend you to maybe start a job, and not for paying for the tuition, but maybe for that admission part, which well, it's not very cheap, but also it's not very expensive. So maybe, as you saw, it's gonna take like from 1 year to 1.5 years. So if you work and you start saving, at least for paying for your, maybe for your plane ticket, or maybe you are not gonna be needing the money because maybe the university is gonna offer you a full ride scholarships, which is great. And that has happened. We have students that got a really good scholarship and they didn't need to, have savings, because, which is always important to have savings, I have to say, because what if you need to go and, I don't know, buy something, that groceries or something, it's important, right? And finally, thank you very much for listening to this long explanation of what is Education USA. If you have further questions, please send me an email. That's my email, pachuca@educationusa.org. We do have social media where we upload all of our events, and we have the final one is our blog. It's very useful, very interesting. We have tons of resources for you about anything that you want to know or that you need. Please check it out, and thank you very much. I don't know if any one of you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Ana, and thank you for letting us know about all the possibilities that we may find if you are interested in studying in the United States. We may think that it is something that we cannot afford, right, because of the money, as you have mentioned, but it is also good to know that some people has found a way to be all the time looking for the right opportunity and getting the chance to study in one of these important institutions, improve the language, getting to know about the culture of this country, getting in touch with people from diverse nationalities. And they did it for free. It's really good to know about those experiences. And please, we're ready to listen to your questions to Ms. Ana del Arenal. I would like to know, Ms. Ana, if you could share with us about one of the most rewarding experience you have had working here at the University of Hidalgo.
Well, you know, something that I really like to do was doing outreach in other schools, other universities, and other high schools. And because of the COVID, I had to stop that. And that's something that I really want to do again, because I feel like not a lot of people in Hidalgo know about the center. And it's important because you have a wide variety of options and resources. And as I mentioned, all of our services are free. So, I mean, you should come at least check it out and see if you want to, you know, do the process.
Thank you, Ms. Ana. And we think it's a really important work, the one you are doing. I want to say that you deserve to be congratulated because you do your job in a very nice and humanistic way, which is really important to approach our students. So thank you for that. And before we end the session today, we want to provide you with this diploma. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, la Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Hidalgo extiende el siguiente reconocimiento por su brillante plática a la maestra Ana del Arenal, con esta interesante descripción de todas las posibilidades que generosamente nos brinda Education USA. Lengua y Cultura Fest, hablemos de Internet y redes sociales, Pachuca de Soto Hidalgo, 4 de mayo de 2022. Muchísimas gracias, maestra Ana del Arenal.
Gracias.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.